Hey everyone, so today we're just going to be talking about the newly released macOS Monterey, whatever you want to call it. But pretty cool names. I always like playing with the names, especially if you have Big Sur and you have a lot of people always making jokes about it. But whatever, it's not really what the point of the video is. What we always like to do for these type of releases, any type of new releases, if you ever seen our other videos, we do have ones on how to make bootable devices for them. And you're probably asking yourself, why do we make those bootable devices? Why? What's the point? I can just go to recovery or do another boot menu. What's the real point of even making them? Well, that's a good point. I actually never really brought them up in a previous video, so I think this video we want to talk about why you should be having a bootable disk installer and also how to do it as well. And we'll be going through the whole steps and everything like that too. For these, we actually do see that we've updated a lot of Macs in the past before, and we actually do see sometimes even when you go to the recovery mode, if you have a problem maybe with operating system, or you see that you're in that boot loop, we actually do have a video on the Big Sur boot loop, how it kind of just gets stuck there and there's not really much you can do. But unless you just want to get your data. But if you don't really care about that and you just want to do a clean install, this will be a good way to do it. Also, of course, going to the recovery in some instances may be good as well. But some of the recovery modes, we've noticed, even though we've updated some to even Big Sur and Catalina, some of them when you go to the recovery mode, they might have the older one, that the factory that actually did come with the device itself. They could have like the old one like High Sierra, or they could have a Yosemite or anything like that. We have seen those before. So if I have a problem and I need to reinstall the operating system and I go to the recovery mode, then it's going to put on an old recovery. So if it gives me like High Sierra, then it won't really ask to update to the latest one, then to like Big Sur or even Monterey or any of those other ones. So you might just be stuck there as well, and then you might actually need to have this USB in case. This one's also good as well because we've actually seen, I haven't put up the video yet on that, but maybe I'll do it especially after talking about this one. We actually have seen ones where even for the internet, there is a problem when you try to access the recovery and you go through the Apple servers, and if the servers are down or if there's any type of error with it, you would want to go more with a local disk. This one that we are going to be talking about doesn't require an internet connection, and you can do it all through a USB. It's kind of like if you've seen those old macOS has those old recovery disks. Let me see if I actually have one here. Here we go. Or if you remember back in the day where you have something like this. This is the macOS OS X Leopard a CD. They come with them. It's an installed DVD of their operating system. This is kind of the same thing, but it's making a little bootable USB for that. For this type of video, you would need to have obviously just a bootable USB, but we'll show you how to create that. So you're going to have Big Sur already. You're also going to have Monterey as an upgrade that it's asking you to do an upgrade for. So when you're going through the upgrade phase, you can go to System Preferences, check to see if you have an update. It's going to be official from the Apple servers. So you want to make sure that we check for the update, and you're going to be getting this download file that you get. Because what it's going to do is first is when you get the download file, it's going to go save it to your computer, and then whenever you're ready to upgrade, then you can click the application and then you can upgrade from there. Once you get that download file, what you want to do is you want to make sure you plug in your USB, and what we want to do is we want to format this USB a certain way. So you want to go to your applications and you want to go to disk utility. That's usually under the other folder. And once you have this utility open, then you want to go to this. It says view. Show all devices. And you want to select the hierarchy of it. So you want to go to like the USB there, and where it says USB SanDisk. And then you could just hit format there. And from format, it's going to ask you certain things. You can call it whatever you want. I was going to put Monterey, macOS Monterey, but they stopped me at a certain character, so I just put macOS M. You can do that, and we're going to just call it that, macOS M, and we're also going to make sure that it's a GUID, and we're also going to make sure that we make it an exFAT partition. And once you do that, this is going to delete everything from that USB, so make sure that you don't need this USB at all. So this will clear it up completely. And once you're done with that, what you can do is now, since we have the downloader and we do have a clean USB, now we can go to our terminal here. So you can open your terminal. and then you can go copy and paste this code in here. So the copy and paste code, what it's basically going to do is it's going to make this disk bootable. So the USB that you're going to have with the downloader, it's going to tell it to make it bootable. So whenever you plug it into your device, when you turn on for the first time and you hold Option key, it's going to make it appear there, and then you can boot to it, and it will have a logo and everything to make it very simplified. Then it's also going to do is what we're going to tell it where you're going to take the application from. So that's why it's really important to keep it exactly the way we're going to post it in here. Is you want to make sure the spacing is perfectly, because it's going to be going through the applications. So since we have it already saved in the applications and that's there, and we didn't move it or anything else, it's going to be targeting our applications folder, and then we're going to direct it to the USB. But then you just drag over your USB that's in the little icon in the corner there, and then it will show up. That will be the path that it shows up. And once you're done with that, you can just hit continue, and then you have to enter a password. Now, if you don't have a password, you want to make sure that you make a password just for this, because I've seen sometimes if you have no password and you enter, it will still ask for a password. So if you don't have one, just make a simple one. We have one like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You can just use something like that, and then it's going to install that download directly to your USB. All right, so what you want to do now is you want to go ahead and check to see if this USB even works. So what you can do, you can shut off your computer now. So there's two different ones. If you have Apple Silicon, you want to get to a boot menu. And if you have the Intel one, you also want to get to the boot menu. So there's different ways of doing it. If you have the Intel ones or any of the older ones, you can hold Option, and you'll have the boot menu that comes up. Or if you have the newer ones like the M1s, you can just hold the power button until you do see the boot menu actually come up, and then you can kind of go through the recovery there. If you do see that little Monterey logo comes up, try to boot to it, see if you at least go to the startup menu, and then you can kind of really go from there. At least we know at this point that the installer does work, and it's a pretty good installer. It's going to show you everything. They'll show you the recovery options. If you're going to go this way, though, this way is going to delete all the data. So if you don't want to do that, make sure you back up your data first at least, and this will be a good way to clean install the brand new macOS Monterey. If you ever have a brand new operating system that's brand new, you always want to go with a clean install just to eliminate any type of issues. So we're going to be doing that. This one, what you want to do is you can go to the disk utility tool here, and then we're going to be wiping the hard drive. So you want to make sure you go to that little icon at the top there that shows all the drives, and then you want to go ahead and pick your solid state drive. You wipe this partition. You can call it whatever you do like, whatever you want to name the hard drive. And you want to make sure it's GUID, and you also want to make sure that you're an APFS, because APFS is still the newer one. I'm sure if you have a newer Mac, it'll still be labeled as a new one, or if you're upgrading to here, you probably already have APFS drive there. You can do encrypted if you want to be with a little bit more security if you want. If you do it that way, though, you might have problems getting to the boot menu unless you have a password. But that might be good as well. Maybe you don't want people deleting your hard drive or have it security. If you do have security on this, you want to make sure that you would have to enter in your previous password first before you do it, because some people might have that already encrypted on their drive before they're able to access even this boot menu. But anyways, if you go with that, then you can delete the hard drive. You can clear it out, and now since you did that, you have a clean hard drive. There's no OS, there's no data, there's nothing on it. It's just a blank drive. And now you can install Monterey if you want to, or if you just want to have a folder icon every time you boot it up, you can have that as well, because that's where you're at right now. But let's download and install Monterey. So just you can install it now because it's from the USB. You don't have to worry about connecting to the internet, because this is a local USB that has nothing to do with the internet. Everything with the installer is on the USB, so you can just plug it in, and then you can go install it as well. And that's really about it for it. It's a good way to, it's a good way if you don't want to mess with the servers or anything like that. What this is going to do is whenever you're making that USB, it's going to get that latest update. So the one we had here is still pretty new. We didn't get the 0.00 version. There was like the 0.01, so at least they made some type of update, at least maybe like a day one update. They did one of those as that. So especially if you check out our boot loop video where we talk about how to recover the data from that Big Sur update, it's a perfect example of why you should make something like this, because you could see the only way we were able to get the data off was to use an older macOS install, because it did have that. The old firmware was a High Sierra, and they were upgrading to Big Sur. They might have had I'm not sure which one they had, because it was a problem with an update, but most of the time Mac will give you, when you're doing an install and upgrade, it will be the previous one you had. So if you're upgrading to Monterey, you probably had Big Sur before, because that would be going through the Apple servers. So for that person, they were upgrading to Big Sur, and their recovery was High Sierra. So how are they going to get back to Big Sur? there's not really a way to do it, because when you check for updates even in High Sierra, you're still gonna have that same problem, is that it's not gonna upgrade because you're on an older Mac OS. So this is a good example of doing that, is to make sure, because that firmware should be updating all the time when you do an update, and sometimes it doesn't. I hope you guys found this video very informative. If you did, please leave a like, really does help us a lot. Subscribe for more content. We do lots of liquid spills, data recoveries. We'll also do stuff like this to be more informative, to make more informative videos, especially for new OSs that come out, and why we like to do things here. Especially we're a repair shop, so we always like to take a look at the coolest things and let you guys know information from our end on why we would do something on our end. So I hope you guys enjoyed watching. Thanks a lot. Bye. Monterey or Monterey? How do you guys pronounce it? Write it down in the comments below. I actually want to know.